An insider is any person who has or had authorized access to or knowledge of an organization's resources, including personnel, facilities, information, equipment, networks, and systems. Banks may broadly define insiders to include all bank employees. Insider threat is the potential for an insider to use their authorized access or understanding of an organization to harm that organization. This harm may include malicious, complacent, or unintentional acts that negatively affect the integrity, confidentiality, and availability of the organization, its data, personnel, or facilities. This situation is very complex because insiders can use their unique access privileges and technical knowledge of bank operations to commit fraud, steal intellectual property, breach confidentiality, as well as alter all disable security controls, which make it more difficult to detect abuse. Our focus on the Eagle today is on insider dealing and abuse of privileges in the banking sector. Aisha Muhammad is my name, and I am not alone today on the program. I have with me...
Hello, my name is Abbas Abubakar Umar. Welcome to the program.
Abbas, so what are we starting the program with?
Well, Aisha, today we are starting with...
Our first report is a report on the commissioning of the EFCC radio. The prevention mandate of the EFCC continues to wax stronger as the Commission devises more ways of reaching you with its anti-corruption message. The EFCC has reached another milestone in its anti-corruption campaigns by establishing its radio station, EFCC Radio 97.3 FM, Voices Against Economic and Financial Crimes. Let's go to Ojochukutami Eche for details on the commissioning of the EFCC Radio.
The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris Malagi, and Executive Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ola Olukoyede, have bared their minds on the menace of fake news, stressing that all efforts should be geared towards fighting it. They made the disclosures in Abuja at the official commissioning of EFCC Radio 97.3 FM. Malagi congratulated the Commission on its ardent and results-yielding war against economic and financial crimes, pointing out that no Nigerian today can ignore, deny, or dismiss the impact of the EFCC. He particularly praised the initiative of a radio station by the Commission, explaining that it would empower it to fight false narratives, fake news, and jaundiced presentation of its works. He assured the EFCC of increased support and collaboration in the working of the radio station and other works of the Commission.
As a public-facing agency, it is indeed very important for the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to be deliberate and strategic about shaping the narratives around the all-important war being waged against corruption in our country. Rest assured that the Ministry of Information and National Orientation will do everything within its power to support you achieve your goals and objectives.
On his part, Olukoyede went down memory lane concerning the conception and crystallization of the idea of a radio station for the Commission, describing its commissioning as a milestone. Like Malagi, he denounced the scourge of fake news and its attendant disservice to the works of the EFCC, maintaining that the radio station would help the Commission tell its own stories more accurately. He stressed that communication offers stronger weapons for breaking half-truths, lies, insinuations, and other distortions of the works the EFCC does. The anti-graft czar commended all those who played various roles in birthing the vision that has finally crystallized, particularly commending the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, for investing in the vision of the Commission at a time when ownership of license by public institutions was completely novel.
Ladies and gentlemen, The commissioning of this ultra-modern radio station today opens a new phase of fully integrated, mass-based, and all-inclusive fight against corrupt practices by the EFCC. The station offers the Commission a platform for discussions, marketplace of ideas, sounding board of knowing the pulse of the nation concerning our work. It will also provide real-time feedback from the public about the work of the Commission.
The chairman, Senate Committee on Anti-Corruption and Financial Crimes, Senator Emmanuel Udendi, described corruption as a monster crippling the growth and development of the nation. He commended the EFCC for its impact and reach across the country, stressing that the fear of EFCC has become the pillar of economic and financial wisdom in Nigeria.
The EFCC has done tremendously well in this fight. They have generated the necessary awareness and consciousness about the impact and consequences of corrupt practices in Nigeria. Like I stated at the committee's recent retreat in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, the fear of EFCC has become the pillar of economic and financial wisdom in Nigeria.
Also, the chairman, House Committee on Financial Crimes, Honorable Jinja Onwusibe, called on all Nigerians to make EFCC radio their preferred station as public enlightenment is needed in the anti-graft fight.
And wish to call on all Nigerians to always hook onto this FM radio so that they will know the do's and don'ts of our country when it comes to financial crimes. Public enlightenment is highly needed to fight economic and financial crimes. By our assessment as a committee, I want to say that on behalf of the committee, Mr. Chairman, you are doing very well.
Pioneer and former director of the Public Affairs Department of the EFCC, Osita Nwaja, while giving his goodwill message, praised the executive chairman for his support and efforts towards the radio station. Osita assured Olukoide that staff of the Public Affairs Department are capable of handling the operational and professional needs of the station.
The pension thieves, the employment scammers, the 10%ers and the several others in between. But weapons do not operate or fire themselves. We need the commanders and the foot soldiers to engage the enemy. Whilst we have the commanders in the EFCC providing strategic guidance, the soldiers we need to tactically, directly confront the enemy at every turn on conventional battlefields and in hand-to-hand combat at street corners are the regular citizens. But they first need to be recruited and they need to own the war. That is where EFCC 97.3 FM comes in.
Other goodwill messages were given by Director General, Nigerian Television Authority (NTA), Alhaji Abdul Hamid Dembos, Director General, National Broadcasting Commission, Charles Ebuebu, and Director General, Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, who was represented by the Executive Secretary Usman Umar Bello. Also in attendance were Director General of FRCN, Dr. Mohammed Bulama, Acting Chairman, Code of Conduct Bureau, Murtala Aliu Akaye, Director, Nigeria Financial Intelligence Unit, Hafsat Bakari, Representative of Inspector General of Police AGI Ogundele Joshua Ayodeji, Special Advisor to the President on Communications and Strategy Bayo Onanuga, and Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity Ajuri Ngelali, among others. I am Ojo Chukutami Eche, reporting for The Eagle.
Congratulations to the EFCC as it keeps increasing awareness on the anti-corruption fight, and keep listening to EFCC Radio for timely and factual reports. The Director General of the National Crime Agency NCA, United Kingdom, Graham Obiga, has commended the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC on its professionalism in the pursuit of its mandate in Nigeria. He gave the commendation when he led a delegation of the UK's anti-crime agency on a working visit to the chairman of the EFCC, Ola Olukoyede, at the corporate headquarters of the commission. Aina Kawa tells us more.
According to Graham Biga, the National Crime Agency, NCA, has the longest standing and deepest relationship with the EFCC, and that the professionalism of the Commission is commendable. He stated that NCA has enjoyed a long-standing relationship with EFCC in Nigeria, and it is important for the National Crime Agency to support the EFCC in the fight against corruption and asset recovery. He called for the deepening of his agency's relationship with EFCC, maintaining that they are ready to take the relationship deeper. Bigger expressed concerns about the activities of fraudsters, especially those stealing life savings of other people and those engaging in succession, stressing that it is important that the two agencies continue with the strong relationship existing between them to aid in tackling those fraudulent dealings.
Continue the strong relationship we have and get ever better at our cooperation.
Responding, Olukoyede stated that the EFCC hugely values the relationship it has with NCA, noting that the good working relationship between Nigeria and the UK reaches way back in time. The EFCC chairman stressed that the global contagion of corruption, economic and financial crimes have made transnational collaboration more compelling. On the new policy direction of the Commission, Olukoyede said that over time he has realized that preventive frameworks in tackling corruption offer more results than any other modalities.
Always willing to work with you with every sense of professionalism and due diligence in what we do, giving consideration to the law that controls our activities in Nigeria.
The EFCC boss stated that corruption is one of the oldest and most perplexing phenomenon in human society. That political corruption exists in every country, and it is not exclusively a problem of developing countries. Amina Kawa reporting for The Eagle.
Insider threat present a complex and dynamic risk affecting the public and private domains of all critical infrastructure sectors. This threat can manifest as damage to the department through the following insider behaviors: espionage, terrorism, unauthorized disclosure of information, corruption including participation in transnational organized crime, sabotage, workplace violence, intentional or unintentional loss of degradation of departmental resources or capabilities. This situation is very complex because insiders can use their unique access privileges and technical knowledge of bank operations to commit fraud, theft or intellectual property breach, confidentiality, as well as altering or disabling security controls, which make it more difficult to detect. Let's move to the chat room where Golden Onwura is with a guest and will be taking us through the topic of the day, which is insider dealing and abuse of privileges in the banking sector. Over to you, Golden Onwura.
The Executive Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ola Olukoyede, has called on civil society organizations, CSOs, across the country to strengthen their existing relationships with the Commission in the fight against economic and financial crimes. The chairman stated this during an interactive session with members of CSOs in Edo State at the Benin Zonal Command of the Commission.
The chairman, who spoke through Acting Zonal Director ACE1 Efa Imo Okim, noted that CSOs were pivotal in combating the menace of corruption in Nigeria. He noted that corruption has been the bane of Nigerians' development and challenged CSOs to become whistleblowers and intelligence gatherers in the fight against corruption. In his response, Kelly Osumbo, President, Faculty of Peace, assured the Acting Zonal Director of their willingness to support the Commission in the attainment of its mandate. The same view was shared by leftist Austin Enabulele, Interim Chair, Edo Civil Society Organizations. I am Chinonso Alexander Eni, reporting for The Eagle.
Insider threat present a complex and dynamic risk affecting the public and private domains of all critical infrastructure sectors. This threat can manifest as damage to the department through the following insider behaviors: espionage, terrorism, unauthorized disclosure of information, corruption including participation in transnational organized crime, sabotage, workplace violence, intentional or unintentional loss of degradation of departmental resources or capabilities. This situation is very complex because insiders can use their unique access privileges and technical knowledge of bank operations to commit fraud, theft or intellectual property breach, confidentiality, as well as altering or disabling security controls, which make it more difficult to detect. Let's move to the chat room where Golden Onwura is with a guest and will be taking us through the topic of the day, which is insider dealing and abuse of privileges in the banking sector. Over to you, Golden Onwura.
Thank you, Aisha. The banking sector is a very critical sector in the economic growth of both the country and individuals. It is a subsector of the financial service sector, which involves other services like capital markets, asset management companies, insurance companies, among others. Owing to this extremely important and sensitive disposition in the economic survival of government and citizenry, and the ever-increasing incidence of insider criminal dealings, the need for high-level scrutiny in the banking sector cannot be overemphasized. Today, we have CSE Damilola Ajayi of the Bank Fraud Section of the EFCC. She's from the Abuja Zonal Command of the Commission, to shed light on the topic insider dealing and abuse of privileges in the banking sector. CSE Damilola Ajayi, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Now, generally speaking, what is insider dealing in an organization?
Okay, insider dealing is a form of corrupt practices that's been perpetrated by insiders, staff of an organization. It's usually rampant with people that have private information, sensitive information that can be sold out or for financial gain, or you can make use of it personally. Yes, so we have generally speaking, organizations have experience. There's no perfect organizations. It's in the government circle, even in the private sector, and banks as well, and all over. So, and that's just a simplified meaning of insider dealing.
What roles do staff privileges in an organization play in insider dealings?
Okay, so usually people that have this, that have access to this information are people probably at the top of affairs, or people that are restricted to certain information.
In the banking sector, how do we recognize frauds that have to do with insider dealings?
There are several cases of insider dealing in the bank. If I start listing now, I don't think we'll leave here today, but I'm just going to mention one or two. In the case of fixed deposits, most of the time, or some of the time, not most of the time really, you go to the bank, you want to fix your money, and then you have somebody, because most of us, we all have account officers, or you have somebody you relate with in the bank, you meet the person, you want to fix your money, and then a certain amount of money you give, you relate with the person, he does everything for you, he or she does everything for you, not knowing that you are not actually fixing your money with the bank, you are fixing your money with him. There are cases like that. And on the maturity date, though you're supposed to be given a fixed deposit certificate after fixing by the bank, you realize that you are being given a fake one. So on maturity date, you go to the bank and say, oh, I need my money with the interest. The bank tells you, there is no money, we can't find your record here. So I would always advise that, when you're going to the bank to fix your money, ensure that you are the one doing the processes from beginning to the end. Don't let anybody assist you. Though this thing might be, it might be difficult for people that are, illiterate or aged. Yeah. The banker would want to assist, because or at least have an idea, know what he or she is doing at every point in time. Then the second one is the issue of forgery. That is also rampant. You're in your house, you realize that your money is moved from your account, you just saw a debit alert. Or you might not even get any debit alert in some cases. So before you can even forge a signature, definitely you must have access to the person's profile and account details. So that also is rampant. Another one again is the issue of KYC. I would always say this, know your customer. Some of the time we've had cases, and we are having cases of KYC, non-compliance to it. Before an account can be opened, you have to know the customer. You have to know the address. If the person is operating in the address, or that's for current, account corporate, then for individual, if he lives in the address. But you see cases that they don't really do it. Customers will just come, okay, I want to open an account, they give you an address. You don't verify. if that address is existing. Is this person staying in the address? They don't do it. They just open the account like that. And most of the time, those accounts are used for fraud.
How can banks, avoid or handle this kind of crime?
Okay, so to be honest, I would say that banks too, they are making efforts in order to curb all this kind of crime in the bank, because they have their internal control, they have their internal audit and all that does all those things. And most of the time, when they investigate and realize that a banker is culpable, they transfer the case to us for thorough investigation and prosecution. So then again, there should be surprise checks, routine checks on the financial activities of their staff in the bank. There should be training, there should be retraining, and let them know the implications of all these fraudulent activities.
Now let's look at the public who usually are the victims of this fraud. What can the public do to prevent being victims of this kind of crime?
Okay, I would say trust yourself, trust no one. When you go to the bank, don't ask for, you can ask for assistance, but there are some things when it comes to your information, maybe you're filling out your details, let it be discreet, okay? Let it be discreet. Then you need to ask questions. When you are not comfortable with some things, just ask questions. Please, what are you doing? Which form am I filling? Yes, because see, there is a case, there are cases of fraud, just like I said, the fixed deposit and certificate fraud and all that. You realize that the customers, they filled it. They filled, even some, they will feel that money should be transferred from their account to another account, which is wrong. You are filling, you are removing, you're signing something that is fraudulent, So all these things, you need to be able to ask questions. What am I doing? Where am I? Which document is this? Read, even if you cannot read, because we know definitely we have people that are not so, educated. You go with somebody that is educated. If you are even physically challenged, you go with somebody that can see, that can write, that can do all that, And if you sense anything, please just report either to the bank. If you feel the bank is not going to do anything, EFCC is there. We are there. That's why we are here.
So what is the EFCC doing to, to curtail this or to prevent this kind of crime from happening?
Okay, so what is the EFCC doing? This is part of what the EFCC is doing. Awareness. Yes. We need to come out and at least tell people that yes, EFCC is here, whatever the case is, whether with the bank, even if it's not bank-related cases, any fraud, we are here to do the investigation, no matter what it is. So that is our role. We go out. I know of programs that were being held, even pamphlets, different things that we do. Then, we have relationship too with the bank. Sometimes even with phone call, they can call us and say, see, we have a case, or, there's one fraud going on, and immediately we swing into action.
Now let's look at the punishments. In the event someone is found wanting or someone has been investigated and convicted for this kind of crime, what are the punishments?
There are lots of punishments. Okay, so if you committed the fraud in connivance with an outsider, so that's conspiracy. You have conspired with a fraudster outside, and you can be charged under the Penal Code, even Money Laundering Act, and the AFF Act. Yes, there are several punishments, even forgery as well. Forgery, you can also be charged under the Penal Code. So there are several other punishments for this thing. And all those penalties, maybe nothing less than maybe 5 years, no option of fine. So you have to be very, very, conscious of your future. If as a staff, you feel, okay, you want to spend the rest of your few years, or how many years in prison, you should always consider that, okay, my future is more important than now.
Thank you very much, CSE Damilola Ajayi, for coming on the program. But just before we go, what are your last words to the people watching you right now?
Okay, so this issue of corruption, fight against corruption, is not just for EFCC, sincerely. We cannot We cannot do everything, you know. So the fight against corruption is for everybody, every Nigerian, every citizens of the country. And okay, for bankers, because of course we're talking about the banking sector, right? For the bankers, we should know that as citizens, we are the citizens of Nigeria as a banker. Then we are also bankers. Our duty is to protect. Your duty is to protect the deposits of customers. So everything in your power to do that, please ensure you do it. And of course, you know, the deposit of customers is very important. If we hear that there is anything, you know, fraudulent that's been going on with the depositors, EFCC will not take it lightly. So please, let everybody come together. Let's make this happen. Let's make our country a corrupt-free country, and we'll all be good.
Just like any public institution, the banking sector, with all its positive disposition towards economic development, must operate within the ambit of moral and legal societal expectations. The sector must put in place measures to checkmate all forms of economic and financial crimes which are perpetrated by fraudsters with connivance of its staff. That's it from the interview segment. I am Golden Omora. Back to Aisha for the rest of the program.
Thank you, Golden, for that interview. And you, our audience, you heard our guest there. The fight against corruption is for everyone. The EFCC cannot do it alone. And as bankers, your duty is to protect the deposits of customers. So ensure you do that for us to have a clean, sanitized system. And with that, we have come to the end of today's episode of The Eagle. Until we come your way again, keep sending in your messages, enquiries and suggestions to info@efcc.gov.ng. You can also call us on 0809 3322644. Don't forget to use the EFCC mobile app, the Eagle Eye app, to report any fraud you see happening around you. You download the app, you follow the steps and report fraud on the go. And you can also take pictures of corrupt practices and upload them.
Also, remember to join us every Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. on our web-based town hall meeting called EFCC Connect, where we answer your questions and note your observations of the anti-corruption fight in order to serve you better. And also listen to EFCC Radio 97.3 FM, the voices against economic and financial crimes. I am Abbas Abubakar Umar.
And I am Aisha Muhammad, leaving you with this parting words that says, integrity is the seed for achievement. It is the principle that never fails. Let's do the right thing always. Stand for integrity. Goodbye. God bless Nigeria. Please do stay safe, be kind to yourself and to others around you, and do enjoy the rest of the week.